My mom is the vicious supporting female character, and I was born after she drugged the male lead. On the day of the finale, my dad was going to kick me and my mom out. Suddenly, I could hear my mom's inner thoughts. Finally made it to the finale. Time to take my sweet baby and leave. Looking at my mother, who was kneeling on the ground with tears streaming down her face, desperately begging my father not to abandon us. I fell into deep thought. My name is Tiffany James. The day we were kicked out of the house, the weather was nice. My mother pulled me down to kneel in the living room of the villa, clinging to my father's leg and crying her heart out. You can't kick me out. We still have a daughter. She can't grow up without a father. I mimicked my mom, clinging to my dad's other leg and wiping my snot and tears all over his expensive suit. My dad bent down, pried my mom's hands away with force, and shoved her to the ground. You know exactly how she came to be. Tara is coming back soon. I'm giving you 3 days to pack up and leave with her. My father impatiently kicked me away, brushing off his pant leg as if he had touched something filthy. From the moment I was born, I awakened to the plot, realizing I was in a CEO novel. Tara is the female lead of this book. The two met at a cocktail party. She was a part-time waitress from a tragic background, while my father, George Robinson, was the big CEO, a very cliché plot. The female lead spilled red wine on my father's clothes, and that's how they met, quickly launching into a chase and romance storyline. As for my mother, she was the villainess, also a wealthy heiress, engaged to my father. In the book, my mother used her power to have the female lead hit by a car, drowned, and constantly breaking up and making up with the male lead. In the end, the male lead bankrupted my maternal grandparents' family. My mother took me abroad, where we lived in poverty, barely having enough to eat or wear. Finally, on a rainy night, we were robbed and shot, ending with the mother and daughter dying in a foreign land. But from what I can remember, the plot seemed to start deviating. First, my maternal grandparents' family didn't go bankrupt. Instead, they transferred their assets abroad early on. The female lead didn't suffer any major injuries either. In fact, she smoothly moved in with the male lead. My mother buried her face in the ground, weeping miserably. At the same time, I actually heard her inner thoughts. The male and female leads have finally reconciled. The story's ending is here. I'm taking my sweet baby and leaving now. In that moment, I even forgot to cry, staring at my mom in shock. Then my dad lifted his foot, ready to walk out. I instinctively called out, "Wait a moment." Hearing my words, my father stopped in his tracks and turned to look at me. "Mr. George," I paused. "I suppose you're not too keen on acknowledging me as your daughter. So I'll address you like this. My mom and I can leave, but as my biological father, you can't just skip out on child support, can you?" In the book, George not only refused to acknowledge me but also transferred all his hatred for the villainess onto me, not giving a single penny in child support. In the end, we moved abroad, living in a dangerous slum where my mom and I were constantly on edge. "Write whatever amount you want." My dad didn't even glance at me as he tossed me a checkbook. I immediately beamed with joy. "Got it, Mr. George, take care on your way." George made a disgusted face and quickly walked out. As the villa door closed, my mom immediately stood up, wiped away her tears, and came over to hug me. "Sweetie, would you like to live with mommy from now on?" But then I heard her inner voice say, "From now on, my precious is all mine. Ha ha ha, I'll buy my precious 100 princess dresses, mommy's kisses." Then she looked up and kissed me on the cheek. Although my mom is a vicious supporting character, she's been nothing but good to me. I quietly pushed her away. My mom froze for a moment, then said anxiously, "Mom has plenty of money. I'll give you a better life than at your dad's place." I smiled and raised the checkbook in my hand. "Mom, let's fill this out first." "Mr. George said we can fill it out however we like." She froze for a moment, then burst into laughter, picking me up and giving my chubby cheeks a big smooch. My dad owns many villas, so logically speaking, giving this one to my mom shouldn't be a big deal. Unfortunately, the female lead likes this place, so we had no choice but to kick my mom and me out. But I wouldn't let him have his way either. The next day, my mom contacted a moving company and took everything, from the sofas and fridge down to the chopsticks and light bulbs. All that was left for my dad was an empty shell. My mom drove us to a new villa, where the interior was decorated in a style we both loved. That evening, my mom personally cooked a lavish feast to celebrate our new life. Eating happily, the doorbell rang, followed by a series of urgent knocks. My mom and I exchanged glances. She walked to the door, glanced at the video doorbell, then wiped the smile off her face and opened the door. George, what brings you here? My mom's face showed a perfect mix of emotions. 50% surprise, 30% disbelief, and 20% joy, all acted out just right. Actually, what she was thinking at this moment was, damn it, why won't this guy leave me alone? George said nothing, his face dark as he grabbed my mom's wrist and stormed in. My mom cried out, George, you're hurting me, what the hell is wrong with you? That fucking hurts. Hearing this, I immediately climbed down from the baby high chair and rushed toward George like a little cannonball, let go of my mom, staggered by my impact. George loosened his grip, you little brat. George grabbed me by the collar and threw me aside. I was thrown to the ground like a little chick, unable to get up for a long time. Tiffany, my mom screamed my name and rushed toward me, but my dad grabbed her, gripping her neck and snarling, did you put her up to scribbling on the checkbook? You don't need to resort to such methods to get my attention, Molly, this time, you've gone too far. George wore a wicked smile on his face, spouting lines straight out of a domineering CEO's script. Since I had nothing to do after moving these past few days, I casually scribbled a string of numbers on that checkbook. I couldn't even count how many zeros I wrote. This resulted in all the money in George's account being transferred away by me. At this moment, the inner monologue in my mom's mind was already cursing in a way that was far from child-friendly. Then she struggled to utter 3 words. I didn't. A buzzing sound of electric current followed, as George stood there, rolling his eyes and convulsing before collapsing stiffly to the ground. My mom stood up, kicked him, then raised the anti-wolf stun gun and zapped him again. Bastard, bastard, daring to lay a hand on my daughter. Today I'll fry you into roasted chicken. After confirming the person was unconscious, she picked me up from the ground. Are you okay, baby? Does it hurt? She lifted my clothes and checked me from head to toe, even wanting to pry open my butt crack to inspect. I shook my head. It's okay, Mom, let's call the police. My mom nodded. The police arrived quickly. George was still unconscious on the ground, and 2 police officers carried him into the patrol car. Fortunately, my mom had installed surveillance cameras at home, and George trespassed with intent to harm. Moreover, he and my mom never had a marriage certificate, and he doesn't acknowledge me as his daughter, so it can't even be considered a family dispute. This will surely give him a hard time. To make it easier to pick me up and drop me off, my mom transferred me to a kindergarten very close to home. We didn't move, given the male lead's omnipotent setting in the novel world. Even if we relocated to outer space, George would still find us. Might as well buy a few more stun guns for the house. If he dares to come, we'll make sure he never leaves. True to her word, my mom bought me a whole collection of princess dresses. I change into a new one every day, and there's enough variety to last a whole month without repeating. My classmates at school are all envious of me, though some mischievous boys deliberately try to dirty my dresses. Tiffany, I heard you don't have a dad. Is that true? Jack, the fattest kid in our class, loudly asked me in the classroom. All the classmates started shouting. Children are easily influenced, and upon hearing his words, they immediately began making a commotion. Tiffany is a wild child without a dad. Although I've awakened to the script and gained a god's perspective, I'm still only 4 years old. The voices of my classmates left me at a loss. I clutched the lace of my dress tightly, saying nothing. Jack, you fat bastard, shut up. A pencil case flew past my eyes and hit Jack on the head. Lily stood in front of me, holding a water cup and looking eager to act. Lily, you tomboy, my mom said you'll never get married, Jack shouted, covering his forehead. As soon as the words were spoken, Lily charged forward, pouncing on Jack, the chubby boy, and the two began wrestling. Seeing Lily was about to lose the upper hand, I immediately rushed to help, scratching wildly at him. Finally, the teacher separated the 3 of us. The 3 of us stood in the teacher's office, waiting for our respective parents to arrive. Jack, a woman's voice rang out. I looked up toward the door. Oh, it was someone familiar. Come to think of it, this was probably my second time meeting Tara, the female lead of this book. By now, she was no longer the plain little waitress but was dressed in the latest haute couture, adorned with sparkling diamond jewelry. That fat bastard Jack immediately started crying when he saw his backup arrive, pointing at me and Lily while wailing, "Auntie, it's them, they both hit me." Lily and I exchanged glances, then simultaneously rolled our eyes in perfect sync. Tara didn't know me, but upon hearing Jack's accusation, she immediately became agitated and stepped forward to grab me. "How could you hit someone, child?" she scolded. The teacher quickly rushed over to shield me. "Madam, let's wait a moment until all three parents have arrived before we discuss this further," she intervened. In no time, my mom hurried over, and as soon as Tara saw her, her expression changed instantly. "James, Miss James." My mom ignored her and simply picked me up. "Mom, I'm fine. I really was fine, except my dress had been dirted by that fat jerk." "Miss James," Tara suddenly shouted, drawing everyone's attention in the room. With a troubled expression, she said, "I know you have issues with me, but the child is innocent. How could you let Tiffany bully Jack like this?" At this, the expressions of the adults in the room changed subtly, as if they had just heard some shocking gossip. In this school, all the students come from wealthy or influential families. No one can afford to offend anyone, so they could only remain silent. Is this female lead out of her mind? If it weren't for this damn system, who would want to deal with her? I went through so much trouble to get her to live with the male lead. If it weren't for me. Does she really think George could have found her so quickly? Miss Tara, perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. My daughter is the most well-behaved and would never provoke anyone. Besides, I truly don't know the relationship between this child and you. Could he really be your and Tiffany's father's illegitimate child? Jack is Tara's sister's child, overweight and unattractive, clearly not George's offspring. But with my mom throwing around the illegitimate child accusation so aggressively, Tara's face turned pale. "That's my nephew." My mother curled her lips and said nothing, but Jack rushed forward like a madman, trying to hit my mother. Bad woman, bullying auntie. "I'll tell Uncle." The next second, he was grabbed by the back of his neck. I looked up and smiled. "Uncle Chandler, Uncle." Lily and I spoke simultaneously. Chandler bent down and picked up both me and Lily, one in each arm. He used to be George's bodyguard, but he suddenly disappeared not long after, and I hadn't seen him for a long time. I instinctively looked at my mom, only to find her expression had turned very strange. Damn, why is it him? He was drunk that day, so he probably doesn't know, right? Now all three parents were present, and they sat down to properly sort things out. The teacher played the surveillance footage, and Jack's offensive words echoed in the small office like a 3D surround sound slap to Tara's face. However, Jack still didn't realize what was happening and kept shouting, "See, they hit me first." My mom said mockingly, "Ms. Tara, you should know better than anyone why Tiffany doesn't have a father. If a cheap dad still counts as a dad." Uncle Chandler also spoke calmly. "If Ms. Tara has such strong opinions about Lily, then the collaboration between the Smith family and your family ends here." The school didn't want to offend anyone, but clearly, Uncle Chandler was more formidable. Even the principal had to address him respectfully as Mr. Chandler. It was already late. My mom held my hand as we walked out of the school, pulling out her phone to call a ride, but Uncle Chandler stopped us. "I'll drive you." With that, he opened the car door, leaving no room for refusal. My mom smiled, though inwardly she was already panicking. "Stay calm, Molly, stay calm. He's just being kind by offering a ride. Don't lose your composure." Lily and I sat in the back, holding hands. Children's friendships form easily, and after one battle, we had already become best friends. "Tiffany, how old are you?" Uncle Chandler asked me. I held up 4 fingers. "I'm 4 years old." "When is your birthday?" I thought for a moment. "March 9th. May 9th. My mom and I spoke at the same time, but she got it wrong. Uncle Chandler glanced sideways at my mom. Tiffany remembered wrong. "It was May," my mom said sheepishly. I didn't speak, and Uncle Chandler asked, "Is that so?" Yes, my mom nodded, her heart completely flustered. "Does this vixen know? I need to consider transferring Tiffany to another school. Whoever dares to take my sweet baby away, I'll kill." My mom's mind had already started playing out a dramatic scene, and as I listened, I fell asleep. When we got home, my mom slung my backpack over her shoulder, bent down into the back seat to carry me out, but couldn't muster the strength, jostling me awake. "I'll do it." Chandler unbuckled my seatbelt and picked me up. Lily was still asleep in the car, and Uncle Chandler didn't wake her. "I won't keep you any longer. Thanks for today." My mom reached out to take me, but Chandler dodged her. The two of them stood in silent confrontation for a while. "Good night, Miss James, in the end. Chandler conceded, setting me down on the ground and patting my head. After returning home, my mom warmed up a glass of milk for me. As I drank, she asked, "Sweetie, do you think Daddy is nice?" I looked at her with an expression that said, "Are you stupid?" and replied, "What do you think? My precious baby is so adorable, like a little grown-up. Mommy wants to kiss you." She leaned in to kiss me again. "What if we got you a different dad?" I said. "I don't care who my dad is. As long as you're my mom, and if you want to get married, as long as he treats you well, I'm fine with it." My mom is currently a single, wealthy woman with many suitors. How could my daughter be so sensible? She's truly mommy's little sweetheart. My mother's heart was screaming internally, and tears began to stream down her face. She hugged me tightly in her arms. The next day at school, I took out a box of chocolates from my backpack and gave it to Lily, partly to thank her for helping me yesterday, and partly because I still had some questions to ask her. My mom only told me 2 years ago that I have an uncle. Apparently, he went missing before and was only found recently, but my uncle is really handsome and treats me very well. Lily laughed, and I peeled another piece of chocolate for her, asking, "So, do you have an aunt?" "Not really," I nodded. "Good that there isn't one." Lately, Lily and I have been getting along better and better because after we teamed up to beat up the class bully last time, none of the other students dared to mess with us anymore. As school was about to end, many parents were already standing outside the classroom, peering through the window. I saw my mom at the very front of the crowd, pressing her face against the glass, straining to look inside the classroom. After leaving the classroom, my mom took my hand, and we walked out of the school together, but at the gate, we unexpectedly ran into someone we never expected to see. George stood at the school gate with a gloomy face, arms crossed, looking as if he was about to blow up the school. Upon seeing us, he strode forward. My mom yanked me behind her, shielding me. "What do you want?" George immediately grabbed my mom's arm. "You're coming with me. Get off me." My mom shook him off violently and took half a step back. "You and this little bastard are going back to apologize to Tara. You've upset her so much she's having a threatened miscarriage. The female lead's constitution is really weak. Just a few words and she's already miscarrying. But what does that have to do with me and my mom? Instead of coming after us, it'd be easier to tell Jack to stop being a jerk and provoking me in the future. If you're having a miscarriage, go see a doctor. I don't know how to treat that. A good dog doesn't block the path, understand?" My mom rolled her eyes and tried to walk around him. When George failed to stop my mom, he reached out and grabbed my ponytail. My scalp hurt, and I immediately cried out. This male lead actually pulled my hair. How unsportsmanlike. Can I just kill this bastard? I've never seen such a despicable male lead before. My mom, let go, you let go right now. She started slapping George's hand as she spoke. I was forced to move closer to George and screamed, "Help! Someone's trying to steal a child." Many parents were at the kindergarten gate, and upon hearing about a child theft, they quickly gathered around. "I am her father, I'm taking her home." George quickly spoke up. Hearing his words, the surrounding parents didn't want to interfere in other people's family matters. He's not, I don't know him." My mother quickly tried to pry his hand away, but the disparity in physical strength between men and women was too great. She couldn't do anything to stop him. Instead, he grabbed her. George seized one in each hand and dragged both my mother and me into the car. "Let her go." Suddenly, a tall figure blocked his path. "Mr. George, arresting people randomly on the street isn't very appropriate, is it?" Upon seeing him, George curled his lips into a mocking smile. "Chandler, you've grown quite bold since being taken back. Daring to stand in my way now, have you forgotten the days when you were like a dog by my side?" Chandler ignored him, simply telling him to let go and pulling my mother behind him. Unfortunately, he still had a tight grip on my braid, leaving me too scared to move. Little did I know, after George let go of my mom, he reached out to open the car door and simply tossed me inside. Then he got into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and ignored my mom and Chandler banging on the windows as he stepped on the gas and drove me away. I kept an eye on the road the whole way, using the smartwatch on my wrist to take pictures. George drove all the way up the mountain and finally stopped at a villa halfway up. "Get inside and apologize to Tara." George yanked me out of the car and growled at me. I spat at him and remained silent. "You're just as domineering and unreasonable as your mother. Go inside and reflect on your behavior." Seeing that he couldn't get me to talk, George dragged me into the house and locked me up. I took out the smartwatch from my pocket. My mom could track my location through it. In no time, Tara opened the door. She held a meal in her hands and placed it in front of me. "Your father is just too anxious. Don't take it to heart." I ignored her. Tara was a very stereotypical delicate wife from an old-fashioned domineering CEO novel, always prioritizing men above all else. She had no career of her own, no life of her own. Everything she did was for the male lead. My mom arrived soon, and I didn't want to eat her food either. "Auntie knows you don't like me, but your father and I truly love each other. Your mother is the one who came between us. You took so much of Dad's money before. You can stay here just for today. Once your mother returns the money to us, you can leave." Tara spoke softly, but her words were nothing short of venomous. Clearly, it was my mother who had the engagement with George first, and they got together before the engagement was called off. Besides, that money was clearly given to me by George to spend as I pleased. If he couldn't afford it, he shouldn't have pretended to be generous, giving it and then taking it back. How shameless. George is not my father. I don't have a father, only a mother. I won't eat your food, and I won't apologize to you either. Tara didn't take the food and walked out. "Miss Tara, if George loves you so much, why haven't you two gotten married yet?" I glanced at her stomach. She should be about 4 or 5 months pregnant now, and because it's twins, her belly is even bigger. "Your child must be getting impatient." The book didn't mention them officially getting married in the end, so I was just guessing, but judging by Tara's expression, I knew I was right. I was locked in a guest bedroom. The security in this villa area is quite good, so my mom might not be able to come rescue me tonight. Walking onto the balcony, I was greeted by lush green trees outside. It was nearing dusk, and I sat there watching the sunset slowly descend. "George, I don't think Tiffany looks much like you." The voice came from above me. Looking up, I realized the master bedroom must be right over my head. "She takes after her mother more." "No, what I mean is it possible she's not your daughter?" "If she's not your daughter, then you wouldn't have to pay child support. That money would be enough to cover the deficit." I held my breath. Tara's wild guess had actually hit the mark by sheer luck. "Shut up," George roared. As the male lead of this world, how could he accept being cuckolded? Such a stain on his life was even exposed by the delicate female lead. Where would his dignity go? The balcony was about 5 or 6 meters above the ground. With my thin arms and legs, jumping down might kill me instantly. Now, I could only hope my mom would come to rescue me soon, though George didn't want to believe it. Early the next morning, several people in white coats walked in. 2 of them held me down while the other 2 drew a tube of my blood. After the doctors left, I lay on the bed for a while before my smartwatch rang. My mom and Chandler have already entered the villa area and will soon come to rescue me. George had already left for work, and now there are only a few servants and Tara at home. After the doorbell rang, I heard a series of hurried footsteps, and then the room door was opened. My mom stood at the doorway, backlit by the light. "Mom," my mom held me tightly without saying a word, but I could hear the voice in her heart. Stepping outside, Uncle Chandler brought in some people and took control of the situation. Only after my mom and I got into a black van did Chandler slowly board the vehicle. "Tiffany, are you okay?" Chandler asked me. I shook my head but still told them about how George had drawn a tube of blood from me today. Chandler and my mom exchanged a glance, as if they had reached some unspoken understanding. "Sweetheart, Mommy needs to tell you something." I opened my big eyes wide to look at her, though deep down I already guessed what she was going to say. "Actually, George isn't your father. This Uncle Chandler here is your real dad." I showed no expression, just nodded to indicate I understood. What's with that expression? Did my baby get scared silly? Even if you're a silly baby, I'll still love you. These past few days, I've come to understand everything from hearing my mom's inner thoughts. Honestly, I don't care who becomes my dad, as long as they treat my mom and me well. After parking, Chandler didn't get out of the car, just looked at me with an expectant expression. "Dad," I called out to him. Chandler patted my head. "Good girl." I was starving, so the first thing I did after getting out of the car was find a restaurant to eat. "Mom, will you and Dad be together?" After Chandler dropped us off at home and left that evening, I asked her. "Not yet, but both Mom and Dad will love you," unlike the plot in the book, where I was indeed George's child. He refused to acknowledge my identity. In the end, my mother and I went abroad and never returned. But my mother changed the storyline. That night, she was indeed drugged. But she didn't end up with George. Instead, she found Chandler. Chandler was the long-lost youngest son of the wealthy Smith family. He had worked as George's bodyguard for several years before being discovered by Old Man Sia and brought back home. After returning to the Smith family, Chandler took over part of the family business and quickly achieved remarkable results. Now people outside refer to him as young Mr. Smith. Some time ago, because I had drained George's liquid assets, the Smith family managed to snatch several business deals from him. After confirming my identity, Chandler took me back to his home. Chandler's father and Chandler's mother were very happy. The Smith family is a prominent aristocratic family in City B, and they immediately decided to host a banquet to announce my existence. On the day of the banquet, all the prominent figures from the political and business circles of City B attended, including George, whose face looked very pale. He must have already found out that we share no blood relation. Mom bought me a beautiful princess dress and dressed me up like a little princess. My dad walked into the lounge, took out a box, and opened it to reveal a crown inside. Daddy's little princess. Chandler put it on for me and kissed my forehead. Our happy family of 3 was enjoying ourselves when George walked in. He immediately shouted, "Molly, you've been cheating on me all this time. You and this bastard have no right to spend my money anymore." My mother laughed. "Mr. George, the 2 of us were never together, so there's no such thing as a green hat, right? Besides, if we're really going to talk about it, you and Tara were the ones who gave me the green hat first." George was left speechless, his face turning red with anger. "Then give me all my money back. In the end, they're just here for money." The Robinson family is currently being crushed by Chandler. Who would have thought they'd be this strapped for cash? TCH, George, when did you become so stingy, arguing over such a small amount? George nearly coughed up blood in anger. That was no small sum. She threw a card in front of him. "Take the money and get lost. This lady has $1 billion reward. I don't even care about this small change." I was utterly shocked. I had no idea my mom was this rich. No wonder she could afford a villa and never had to work. George hesitated, unsure whether to pick it up or not. After standing frozen for a long time, he finally bent down and picked up the card. So satisfying. It's finally my turn to humiliate the male lead. I glanced at my mom, who couldn't even suppress the smile on her face. Actually, becoming a child of the Smith family didn't change my life much. The only difference was my grandfather asking if I could change my name to Tiffany Smith, but I refused. Chandler never raised me for a single day, yet he wants me to change my surname. That's absolutely impossible. After retrieving the money, the Robinson family business showed some signs of recovery, but clearly my father was still one step ahead. Recently, he's been coming to my mom's house every day after work, staying until I fall asleep before leaving. Today, when he returned, he was holding a stack of photos in his hand. It was a photo of George with his arms around women in a nightclub. I wasn't surprised because in the book, George was portrayed as a flirtatious playboy, what my mom would call a dirty cucumber male lead. That's not my description. It's my mom's. Now that Tara is pregnant, it's no surprise he's sneaking around. This female lead is really pitiful. Maybe I should warn her. My mom sent these photos to Tara, but there's been no reply from the other party. Today my mom has a beauty appointment, and before school she told me my dad would pick me up after class. I walked out, and my dad was standing by the car with Tara facing him. When they saw me coming, the 2 of them stopped talking. My dad very gentlemanly opened the passenger seat door, and Tara, holding her belly, got in. When we got home, I poured Tara a glass of water, then turned and went upstairs, pretending to return to my room. Actually, I was hiding in the corner eavesdropping on their conversation. Tara spoke first. "Mr. Chandler, let's make a deal." I didn't say anything, and she continued talking on her own. Last time, Tara took my advice and proactively brought up marriage with George, but he rejected her, saying she wouldn't look good in a wedding dress with her big belly. Even if we can't have a wedding, we could at least get the marriage certificate first. But unfortunately, that was also rejected. The photos my mom sent her became the last straw that broke the camel's back. She laid these photos out in front of George and confronted him, but her hysteria only earned her a dismissive response. "This is how things are in our circle. I was just playing along with them. Stop making a scene." Tara cried for a long time, then took out her phone wanting to confide in someone, only to realize she didn't have a single friend. Over all these years, the closest person to her had been George. In that moment, she felt as if she had everything, yet nothing at all. She handed my father a file containing evidence of George's company's violations over the years. George was confident enough to believe Tara loved him deeply, so these materials were easily obtained by her. Moreover, Tara was a woman without any backing. Even with this evidence, she couldn't do much to him. But even a clay figure has its limits. He's the father of the child in your belly. How could you bear to send him away? My father asked her. Tara suddenly laughed, lowering her head to caress her belly with tender affection. It's better if he has nothing. That way, he'll have only me by his side. When that time comes, he'll finally realize that I'm the one who loves him most in this world. Tara had gone mad, driven to insanity by George. My mom's assessment of her was that she must be suffering from prenatal depression. George was caught fooling around with another woman in a hotel. Tara led the way. In the hotel's presidential suite, Tara swiped the room key and walked in. Clothes of both genders were scattered all over the floor. While the two people on the bed were still engaged in some adult activities, George saw Tara and panicked for a moment, but quickly composed himself and demanded to know why she was there. Tara slapped him across the face, and soon after, the police came in and handcuffed him. The woman on the bed was a call girl, and George initially didn't take it seriously. Thinking his secretary could easily pull some strings to get him released, he'll deal with that woman Tara properly when he gets back. But little did he expect to be met with charges of economic crimes. This incident caused a huge uproar, a company president being arrested for economic crimes, leaving the entire corporation on the brink of collapse. However, George still had a way out. His lawyer applied for bail pending trial, and the first thing he did after being released was to track down Tara. But it wasn't to settle scores with him. Instead, she pulled out a thick stack of contracts and demanded Tara sign them. If Tara signed these contracts, the legal representatives of several involved companies would become her. Plus, since she was currently pregnant, the law would undoubtedly give her a lighter sentence. My mom heard about George being detained right away and guessed he would try to pin the blame on someone else. So she immediately warned Tara. Outwardly, Tara showed no reaction. But secretly she turned on her phone's recording function and hastily scribbled her signature on the documents. After George left, she slowly emerged and organized the evidence. The police quickly took her away. On the day of the trial, George sat in the audience. His initially confident expression crumbled upon hearing Tara's recording. Even after being imprisoned, George remained as arrogant and self-assured as ever. Tara had already turned dark, yet George still didn't take her seriously. After going around in circles, the verdict ended up being even harsher. George still ended up in prison, and with a heavier sentence, for economic crimes involving massive amounts, framing others, and combined penalties for multiple offenses. He was sentenced to over a decade. Many of the assets under his name were seized and auctioned off. My father took the opportunity to acquire and merge the Robinson family conglomerate. Tara moved from a grand villa to a shabby old apartment. Before even finishing her postpartum recovery, she had to start working odd jobs. Otherwise, she couldn't afford to feed the two mouths of her twins. My mom offered to give her some money to go abroad, as staying in the country would make her a target for George's creditors. But she refused. She wanted to wait for George to be released from prison, still holding on to hope for this incarcerated man, hoping that after his release, the two of them could still live a good life together. But I think perhaps she has invested too much in this man and can't bear to let go, so they might as well stay entangled for the rest of their lives. My mom didn't try to persuade her further, just left the money behind, and told her she could come to him if she needed anything. The side story clearly states this kid will be a genius in the future. Don't let him be ruined. This was the last time I heard my mom's inner thoughts. One morning, after groggily bumping into the bedside table, I realized I could no longer hear my mother's inner thoughts. Later, I tried bumping into it again to regain this ability, but my dad saw me and thought I was under too much academic pressure. So he took me on an overseas vacation. Walking on the beach, my dad asked me, "Would you like Dad and Mom to live together again?" I understood what he meant. All these years, he never remarried, and I think he's been waiting for my mom all along. But now I've lost the ability to hear my mom's inner thoughts, so I can't provide him with any cheats. He'll have to rely on his own efforts now. As long as Mom has no objections, I'm fine with anything, whether they end up together or not. I'll always be their child. A year later, my dad finally moved into the house with me and my mom without any issues. This year, I became the messenger between my dad and my mom. I couldn't take it anymore, so I signed up for the school's summer camp during the break, a 2-month study trip to Northern Europe. When I returned home, my dad held my mom's hand as they came to the airport to pick me up. The three of us held hands and walked home together, after hearing the first story above. What are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. Transmigrated into the role of a wicked stepmother, all to meet the system's KPI. Every day, I ordered the eldest son to do laundry and mop floors, while the youngest daughter cleaned windows and weeded the garden, until a year later, when the male lead returned home with his white moonlight, I proactively packed my bags, ready to be kicked out. So I could fly to the Maldives and bump into some male models. The white moonlight pointed at my suitcase, demanding I leave behind all the gold and silver jewelry. The eldest son said, "Mom, don't be afraid, you go first, I'll catch up soon." The youngest daughter nodded in agreement. "We don't need this junk, Dad has another safe. Once I break the lock, I'll send all the money to you." The male lead was speechless. "I'm confused, host. You just need to maintain the persona of a wicked stepmother and abuse them, make them suffer and despair. When the male lead returns with his white moonlight, and the two little ones are moved by her maternal love, your mission will be complete. The reward is 40 years of eternal youth." I was moved to tears. This system really gets it. Women remain girls at heart until death. This is more thrilling than money. Okay, as for money, there's no need to worry about that, in this villa. Even a random decorative piece is worth millions. On the day I get kicked out, I'll secretly take a few items, enough to live lavishly for the rest of my life. After finishing this job, I'm going to have fun with college boys, I immediately promised. "Yes, sir." Mission accomplished. The system happily agreed to throw in 3 additional conditions for me. If the task proves difficult, I can call for its help 3 times. I looked at the 2 chubby little toddlers in front of me, who barely reached my knees. I snorted coldly. "Playing with them is no different from playing with dogs, isn't it? You, go bring the watermelon." I pointed to the eldest, Su Chen. In the future, he would become decisive in battle and ruthless in action. Aside from his own sister, only his white moonlight mother could occupy a place in his heart. But now, he's just a steaming little chick. He squatted humiliatingly on the carpet, watching helplessly as I lounged on the sofa with my legs crossed. "Feed me." His eyes widened in disbelief, his little mouth pouting in grievance, before he resignedly forked a piece of watermelon and brought it to my lips. "Su Chen, right, from now on, your snacks are confiscated by me. Butler, send all these chips, jelly, and pork jerky to my room." Su Chen's chin trembled slightly. As the eldest grandson of the Su family, the 2 little ones had more money than they could ever spend. Everything from food to clothing, housing, and transportation is top tier. Rumor has it the water they drink is freshly melted snow from the Alps, extremely rich in minerals. The vegetables they eat are grown by specialists, with agronomy master's graduates hired to ensure they're organic and pollution-free. In short, the food is excellent, with an extremely high content of fatty pork. I plan to start with their excess fat. First task, lose weight. "You broke your promise," Su Chen, with tears in his eyes, tried to maintain his elder brother's dignity as he shielded his younger sister behind him. "You said if we handed over our allowance, you wouldn't mistreat us anymore." As soon as the words were spoken, Su Shui burst into loud sobs. Is there also pocket money?" My eyes lit up, but I suppressed my excitement and slowly added, "Pocket money must be handed over. Snacks must be handed over too." As soon as the words were spoken, the 2 little ones' expressions changed. Silently clenching their fists in helpless fury, I threw my head back and laughed heartily. As expected, snacks are every child's Achilles heel. Su Chen protested indignantly. "This is abuse. I'm telling Dad." "Me, really? That's what you said. Whoever doesn't tattle is a puppy. What this young lady wants is abuse." "Ha ha ha, go ahead and sue, the louder the better." The 3rd day of being the wicked stepmother, the unyielding Su Chen refused to give up, calling his father 18 times a day. And his father simply wouldn't answer. Counting the days, his father should be in France bumping into the white moonlight female lead, busy with love and all that jazz, with no time to spare for his son born from a business marriage. Su Chen didn't give up and called his grandfather. The old grandfather wasn't as heartless and sent someone to reprimand me a bit, casually tossing me a black card, telling me not to make things difficult for his little grandson. for the sake of money. Me, holding a black card, this makes it quite difficult for this old servant. On one side, eternal youth at 18, on the other, unlimited black cards. Oh, fuck, for the sake of money, I've decided to treat Su-chin better, personally prepared a light meal for him, tomatoes, lettuce, and ice plant, sprinkled with an unbeatable salad dressing, a feast for the eyes and palate. Su-chin stared in disbelief at the plate of greens on the dining table, dared to be angry but not dare to speak. I glanced at the soft and sweet little girl beside me and felt a surge of kindness. Starting today, we'll have a prize-winning eating contest. Whoever finishes this plate of greens first gets a reward of chicken breast. With that, the two little ones lowered their heads and devoured the food furiously. Ha ha ha, being a stepmother is so satisfying. Even being a wicked stepmother has its troubles. When the little brat fails his exams, the teacher comes to me first. I was happily getting my nails done. Then the school called. Hello, is this Su Shue's parent? Your child ranked last in piano class. Please come to the school. Piano, ranked last. My mind went blank, and I had to go through the plot several times before realizing something was wrong. Su Shue was the youngest cellist in China's future music scene. If not for the long delay in her childhood, she could have even made it internationally, yet even as a late bloomer, she was already a top-tier genius. What does her failing piano have to do with her being a cellist? I rushed to the school, and as soon as I entered, I heard the teacher berating Su Shue harshly. On a piano keyboard, the pitch increases from left to right. You don't even remember such basic knowledge. I don't know what's the point of your family spending so much money on your piano lessons. It's all wasted on a pig's brain. Su Shue sobbed pitifully, crying with great grievance. My anger flared up instantly, taking my money and still mistreating my child. Who gave him the audacity? The teacher glanced at me sideways. With an arrogant lift of her head, she said, I can't teach your child. You'd better find someone else. The male lead's beloved White Moonlight, whose piano skills were mesmerizing. Naturally, he believed that girls should learn to play the piano. He spared no expense in enrolling Su Shue in a prestigious class with a renowned teacher. The original wicked stepmother forced Su Shue to practice in order to please the male lead. If she didn't play well, she would be beaten severely. She drove the little girl to psychological disability. I sneered twice. This trick is all too familiar to me. It's nothing more than creating emotional anxiety for parents, pressuring them to pay more to keep their children learning. But I'm the wicked stepmother. Paying more is out of the question. Getting a refund is more like it. I plopped down on the sofa and crossed my legs. If you can't teach, then don't. My husband paid for 300 lessons in total, at $5,000 per lesson, including this one. You've taught 53 lessons, so there are still 247 left. $235 million, refunded. Would you like to scan the QR code or pay in cash? I considerately opened the payment QR code. The teacher was trembling with anger. She pointed at me. You're utterly vulgar. I couldn't help but laugh. So asking for a refund makes me vulgar. The teacher had strong principles and continued to gaslight me. Parents like you have it tough. How about this? We'll extend each lesson by an hour but still charge by the session rate. Just $7,500 per class from now on. Oh my, just $7,500. Must be so hard for you. I waved my hand grandly, declaring that I dislike troubling others and taking advantage of people. Just refund me directly. The teacher was so angry that she gritted her teeth and, in a fit of pique, scanned the code to refund the fee. She declared that with an unreasonable parent like me, no reputable teacher would ever be willing to teach my child. Wait, did I say you could leave? With a tiny finger pointed, the bodyguard obediently closed the door. The teacher was furious and shouted sharply. What do you think you're doing? Let me tell you, this is a society governed by law. You're going to jail for this. The sound is so loud it's about to shake my earwax loose. I pick at my ear. You're the one who's going to jail. I pull up the surveillance footage, which is full of videos of her verbally abusing and mistreating Su Shue. The teacher is stunned. You've been spying on me. I rolled my eyes. Please. This is the Su family's private piano room. Any single piano in here is worth more than your miserable life. Should we install surveillance cameras? The teacher sneered. When I scold her, I'm motivating her. I sneered. As the wicked stepmother, I specialize in dealing with social scum. Since you put it that way, I won't hold back. I started cursing like a machine gun, my little mouth firing away, starting with her mom. Her mother was the main target, with her father as the side dish. She was so furious her eyes turned red. Huffing and puffing like a steam engine, "This is personal attack, I'll sue you." I slammed the USB drive on the table and said arrogantly, "Go ahead and sue me, but before that, I'll post the videos of you abusing the child in the school group, letting all the parents see your true colors." The teacher's face turned green with anger. Su Shui attended an elite girls' school where teachers' base salaries were very low, and their main income came from tutoring fees. Once I shared those videos in the group chat, her reputation would be ruined. Under my intimidation, the teacher tearfully apologized to Su Shui and told her that she was a very good and wonderful child. Su Shui's eyes sparkled with little stars. On the way home, she kept calling me, "Good mommy," over and over. Oh heavens, I wailed silently in my heart. I glared at her. "Shut up, call me bad mommy." Su Shui pouted. "No, mommy fought the bad guys for me. She's the best mommy in the world." I clenched my fist threateningly. "Keep calling me that, and I'll sew your little mouth shut." The little girl let out a wail and quickly covered her mouth with both hands. After a while, she quietly asked again, "Aren't you angry?" After all, I had been forcing her every day to practice the piano well. Only then could we film the perfect video to send to the male lead overseas and get red packets. Now the money source is cut off. Such a big incident happened. It would indeed be abnormal not to punish her, I said fiercely. "Of course I'm angry. As punishment, you'll have to eat double the beef and eggs tonight." Su Shui's face immediately showed a pained expression. However, while work and production may stop, learning never does. Even if piano lessons are suspended, other classes must still continue. Humph, 1 lesson a day. That's settled. I pinched Su Shui's chubby cheek viciously. "Starting tomorrow, you'll switch to learning the cello, 1 lesson a day." Su Shui looked bewildered. "I don't know what a cello is." "Heh heh heh, the cello is an extremely heavy instrument, you little brat, just wait to suffer, ha 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 ha." As soon as I got home, Su Chen noticed his sister's reddened eyes. As if she had been crying, clenching his little fists, he charged at me without a word, ready to fight. I reached out, pressing my hand against the top of his head to hold him at arm's length. Watching as he swung his fists wildly, he screamed in humiliation, "When I grow up, I'll chop you into 1,000 pieces." Oh ho ho, chop into 1,000 pieces, such a young age, yet he's already putting on such an act, Su Shui flusteredly explained, saying I didn't bully her, it was me who bullied her. "So what? Starting tomorrow, 1 cello lesson per day. Neither of you is allowed to skip class. In this household, when the man of the house isn't here, I'm the boss, under my command." The 2 little ones were giving me a shoulder massage and foot bath respectively. During this time, Su Shui suddenly looked up and asked, "If not piano, then why learn the cello?" I rolled my eyes. "Because it's cheaper, of course. Piano lessons cost 5,000 per session, while cello lessons are 3,000, nearly half the price. Embezzle funds and pocket a profit of several 100,000. Upon hearing this, Su Chen was so furious he nearly passed out. There was another important reason for switching to the cello. In just over 20 days, the male lead would be coming to inspect the 2 children's academic progress. If I pass the assessment, I will receive a generous reward as compensation, otherwise, nothing. So, for this money, I must push forward. The tutor I hired for Su Shui is an obscure one, but no one knew that she was actually the last disciple of the renowned cellist Professor Ur. If the little girl's talent was discovered by her and recommended to Professor Ur, wouldn't the male lead's rewards be plentiful then? The more I think about it, the more excited I get. When the male lead comes back and kicks me out, I'll have both money and looks. Maldives, here I come, with all the young hunks waiting for me. While Su Chen was massaging my back, he secretly put in extra force. I was startled by the pinch. Not bad, quite strong. Su Chen smirked coldly. What I said next plunged him into an icy abyss. He's got great potential for martial arts. Since you don't think much of Teacher Chen, forget about the cello and switch to martial arts instead. Su Chen was speechless. True to my word, I immediately found a martial arts instructor to give Su Chen one-on-one training. I secretly instructed the teacher to increase Su Chen's training intensity. Su Chen glared at me with resentment. Not backing down, I glared right back. "What are you looking at? Keep staring and I'll dig your little eyes out." Su Chen turned his face away, silently enduring. I just love how he looks down on me but can't do anything about it. Under my intense abuse, the little one's daily schedule is packed full. They go to bed right on time every day, with their biological clock set very regularly. They don't even have time to hate me. Su Shui successfully obtained the ticket to meet Professor Wu. The male lead was overjoyed upon hearing the news and generously rewarded me with a set of jewelry. It was so dazzlingly golden and shiny that it nearly blinded me. Su Chen sneered. How uncultured. This set of jewelry is only worth 10 million. I gasped in shock, and my eyes instantly lit up. So much. Su Chen was speechless. I carefully hid the jewelry. Who would have thought that raising the two little ones properly could earn me so much money? I stroked my chin thoughtfully. Eyeing Su Chen with a wicked gaze, the little girl had already served her purpose. Might as well make you my next target. The male lead gives me 2 million a month for living expenses, covering all the villa's expenditures. To save on expenses, oh wait, no. It's to cultivate the virtue of frugality in the two little ones. I decisively dismissed the gardener and the driver. Seriously. The Su family lived in a luxurious villa, with an elite kindergarten right within the gated community. The distance from their doorstep to the kindergarten was barely 500 meters. What was the point of a driver? Under my strong insistence, Su Chen had to jog there every day, dressed in my workout gear. I waved my hand grandly. Charge. Su Chen silently rolled his eyes at me. I flicked his forehead with a backhanded snap. No respect for your elders. A walk after meals keeps you alive for 99 years. Don't you know? Su Chen muttered under his breath. Stingy. Huh? Was I being stingy? Clearly. I was just making the most of the moment to exercise. Whatever. There's no point explaining to a little brat. He wouldn't understand anyway. In front of the kindergarten, luxury cars were everywhere, and the variety of car logos dazzled my eyes. Wow, this is practically a grand floating scene. Just as I secretly made up my mind to buy a car to impress young guys, Su Chen pursed his lips tightly, his small body constantly leaning toward me, looking ahead with nervous vigilance. I raised an eyebrow. What? Feeling hungry, saw some kids eating meat buns up ahead. Following Su Chen's gaze, I looked ahead and saw 4 or 5 little boys gathered together, eyeing Su Chen mockingly. The boy at the front had rosy lips and pearly white teeth, bearing a striking resemblance to Su Chen, about 70% similar. After my repeated calls, the system finally went online. Yes, he is Su Chen's half-brother from the same mother. Back then, their mother was forced into a business marriage with the male lead. After giving birth to Su Chen, she ran off with her childhood sweetheart and gave birth to Gun Yan the following year. Damn, rich people really play on another level. The system got excited. Gun Yan is the school bully who looks down on his own brother Su Chen the most and often bullies him. Host, take this opportunity to bully Su Chen. It'll be twice the result with half the effort. Okay, fine. I pinched my hands together. Got it. No wonder mommy doesn't want you. You look like a pig. So ugly. The little followers chimed in. Exactly. He doesn't deserve to be in the same kindergarten as us. Let's kick him out. As they spoke, a bold one stepped forward and shoved Su Chen. Su Chen clutched tightly to the hem of my clothes. His eyes revealed a malice beyond his years. Ha ha ha. No matter how ruthless and decisive a domineering CEO he might become in the future, right now he's just a bullied little runt. I flung the school bag onto the ground. Then I shouted at Su Chen, go. Su Chen was puzzled. Me, go on. If someone bullies you, just fight back. With that, Su Chen actually rolled up his sleeves and threw a punch at the leader of the kids. After a long period of consuming meat, eggs, and milk, Su Chen shed his excess fat and became lean and strong, under the guidance of the martial arts instructor. Every punch and kick was executed with precision. These delicate little sprouts were no match for Su Chen at all, and they were all knocked down. The group of toddlers burst into loud wails after being beaten, quickly drawing the attention of the kindergarten teachers. The teacher stopped me. Su family nanny, this is child abuse. Our school will definitely report this incident to the authorities and punish you severely. I tossed my hair. First of all, I'm not a nanny. I'm Su Chen's stepmother. Second, with such a big surveillance system. Can't you see they threw the first punch? The teacher is embarrassed. The gossip about the Su group is always a secret among the elite circles. That sounds nice. I'm Mrs. Su. Put bluntly, I'm just a nanny, a tool the male lead married to spite his father, at best, a high-end nanny. But, you can't just beat someone up like this. I pushed her aside, pointed at the parents who hadn't gone far yet, and made a bold declaration. Today we're taking action. What do you plan to do about it? The teacher had never seen someone as shameless as me. I pointed to the group of parents behind me, and they can come demand compensation from me right now. The teacher was stunned. Just kidding, as long as the male lead remains active. The Sue group is the biggest chaebol in this story. Everyone here has to rely on the Sue family for their livelihood. Dare to cause trouble for me. Do you have a death wish? Apparently hearing my words, the parents behind me scattered like frightened birds, while the teacher stammered, face flushed, unable to speak. And you too? I pointed at the little kids led by Goon Yen. If you dare to bully Sue Chen again, this pretty aunt won't mind giving you another round of bamboo spanking. The little kids were terrified, all covering their bottoms. Goon Yen's face turned red with anger, glaring at me with fiery eyes. Ha ha ha, this is exactly the effect I wanted, you foul little brat. Rage on, the angrier, the better. After I leave, vent all that rage onto Sue Chen. Let him experience the true evil of kindergarten. On the way home, Sue Chen was acting very awkwardly, hiding behind me, sometimes giggling foolishly, sometimes puffing his chest out like a little general, his small hands fluttering in the air. Every time I turned around, he would sneakily stand straight again, like a timid quail. I chuckled to myself. Look at how the child has been bullied, almost driven to the brink of a mental breakdown. Seems like this wicked stepmother's evil plan is working out splendidly. The fresh lobsters airshipped from Australia by the male lead have arrived, their long claws waving menacingly. Indeed, the affection of the wealthy is as simple and unpretentious as this. The male lead, still abroad, heard about the kindergarten incident and transferred 1 million to my account as a reward. At the same time, news came that he would soon return to the country. Listen, I told you this job was easy. Being a wicked stepmother comes with rewards. Little Shue was drooling with greed. Mommy, are we having lobster for dinner tonight? The adorable baby voice melted my heart. No, sweetie, Mommy is having lobster tonight. You and your brother still have to eat your nutritious meals. The little girl's face fell. But the temptation of lobster quickly helped her adjust her mood. Xiao Shue doesn't want beef and eggs. Can I have lobster instead? Though the little one is adorable. Who told you I'm the wicked stepmother? Being soft-hearted is out of the question. No way. The two little ones are extremely picky eaters. They refuse to touch eggs or milk and only enjoy seafood like salmon and king crab. I specially hired a nutritionist for them, serving up meat, eggs, and milk all at once, much to the little ones' dismay. Me, whoever doesn't finish eating will do the dishes. Sue Chen, angrily chugging milk. Sue Shue, eating eggs with grievance. The male lead is about to return home. I racked my brains, determined to commit more misdeeds to inflict deep psychological wounds on their young hearts. In front of both children, I announced a new household rule. From now on, the two little ones would move into my room and sleep with me. The big bad wolf devoured Grandma and put on her red dress, peering through the door crack. It whispered to Little Red Riding Hood, Grandma, I'm so hungry. Is there anything for me to eat? Kind Little Red Riding Hood handed the pancake to the wolf grandmother. But suddenly, the wolf grandmother grabbed her hand. With my hand hidden under the blanket, I suddenly grabbed Xiao Shue's hand. Xiao Shue squealed in fright and hid in my arms. I laughed wildly in my heart. Ahaha, scared them again. Su Chen turned his back to me, pretending to sleep while curled up in the corner of the bed. Humph, as if I'd believe that. The little one's ears were perked up high, clearly eavesdropping on the story. I snorted coldly, vowing to wear out Andersen's fairy tales by retelling the most terrifying stories to the two of them. Under my top-secret adaptations, bedtime stories became the most anticipated show for the little ones. I'm speechless. The little girl nestled in my arms, clutching her doll. Mommy, did Lu Jishan and Lin Daiyu end up together in the end? I twitched my lips and viciously reached out to poke her little cheek. This isn't something for a child to worry about. Go to sleep. The little girl refused to sleep. No way. I already drank all my milk like a good girl today. Su Chen nodded in agreement. The bowls are washed clean too. Tomorrow, my brother and I will mop the floor together, guaranteed to be spotless. Under my domineering pressure, the two little ones very tactfully reported their work. How infuriating. How could I let them have the upper hand? I immediately opened Baidu Encyclopedia and searched for scariest stories for kids. No surprise there. The two little ones went to school with dark circles under their eyes. I deliberately accentuated both their dark circles with eyeshadow, hoping some observant soul would notice this wicked stepmother of theirs and report me fiercely, so the male lead, currently abroad, would hurry back and kick me out the door. Ha ha ha. But the next day, I received a call from the kindergarten. My heart leaped with joy, thinking Su Chen was being bullied again in kindergarten. I kicked open the office door, ready to unleash a verbal storm, but instead, I saw Gun Yen with tear-streaked cheeks. Gun Yen, I'm speechless. What's going on here? The teachers don't dare to provoke me. They think compared to these little young masters worth tens of millions, I, the super-masculine parent, am even more intimidating. Ask her yourself. Under the withering glare of my wicked stepmother, the proud Su Chen finally gave in. Lu Zhishan and Lin Daiyu didn't end up together, and he cried out of anger. I was confused. The teacher explained, Su Chen tells stories in kindergarten for a monthly subscription of $99, one episode per day. Today he went on strike and refused to continue the story, so Gun Yen demanded a refund. I remember now. Last night I didn't continue making up stories and just picked a random horror novel to scare them. The teacher stood in a corner, looking at me resentfully. Okay, fine. The wealthy young master successfully transformed into a storytelling performer. Su Chen kept going. What's the deal? Can't even take a day off when working at your company. The teacher closed his eyes in agony. Wow, this kid even learned to speak his mind. Gun Yen pouted pitifully. Auntie, I want to go to your house and listen to stories too. I'm confused. The storytelling duo has successfully evolved into a trio. On the bed, Su Chen and Su Shui occupied the prime spots on either side. Gun Yen was squeezed into the corner of the bed. The little one wasn't satisfied and secretly sneaked from under the blanket into my arms. He gave Su Chen a provocative smile. Su Chen was furious. How dare you, you thief! You stole my birth mother, and now you want to steal my stepmother too. With that, he performed a move like uprooting the willow, and plucked Gun Yen right out of my arms. I was confused. All right, from now on, the water margin story elements will be halved. Gun Yen whimpered. Mom and Dad went to play in the Alps and haven't come home for a long time. I could only stay with Grandma the nanny. The little bean looked enviously at the twins nestled in my arms. I don't want you as my stepmom. I paid money. I came here to listen to stories. He stretched out his arm and wiped away his tears. He sat at the foot of the bed with great dignity, not even covering himself with the blanket. Go on, keep talking. I paid to hear a story. Once I'm done listening, I'll leave. Me, coldly. All right, then go scrub the toilet first. Gun Yen was shocked. I already paid $99 for a monthly subscription. You didn't pay me. One chore, one story. No credit allowed. Go, go, go. Everyone, get moving. I grabbed two little bottoms with my hands and drove all three little ones off the bed. One brewed tea and massaged my back. Another scrubbed the toilet and changed the trash bags. And the last one fetched water for my foot soak. Satisfying. The male lead returned. At first, I was still in the villa directing the three little sprouts to pound my back and knead my shoulders when the sound of hurried footsteps came from the doorway. The sound of the door opening echoed. The three little ones and I froze in place. The male lead was stunned. Gun Yen, what are you doing here? At that moment, Gun Yen was dressed in a queen's gown, wearing a golden crown. She was just about to give the poisoned apple to Cinderella. Gun Yen's face flushed red as she frantically took off the empress dress. Ex-husband, Dad. No, 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 Uncle. I'll head back first. Bye. See you tomorrow. Gun Yen grabbed the hem of her skirt and bolted away like a big black rat slipping through the door crack. The male lead looked at me, dumbfounded. What are you doing? I waved the magic wand in my hand, feeling rather awkward. If I said I was transforming, would you believe me? He glanced around the villa. His little daughter, Su Shui, was covered in dust from head to toe, her fair little face smeared black like the bottom of a pot. The eldest son, Su Chen, crouched on the ground with his back arched, a thick black tail sticking to his bottom. Seeing his father look over, he excitedly responded, squeak, squeak. The male lead roared in fury. Now, immediately, right this instant, get out of here. Me, really. As the task neared its end, the system finally came online. Wow, host, your professional skills are top-notch. Judging by the male lead's expression, I give you 100 likes. I had rehearsed this scenario in my mind 1,000 times over. Without hesitation, I dragged out 3 large suitcases from the bedroom, ready to be kicked out. To my surprise, the two little beans stood protectively in front of me, glaring fiercely at their father. I won't allow you to bully Mom. System, silent. The plot seems a bit off. Me, I think so too. Su Chen also seemed to dislike his father standing at the door, blocking the sunlight. She shoved the plunger into his hand. From now on, you're the dark fairy. Hurry, put on a show for my mom. The male lead finally couldn't take it anymore. Grabbing one kid in each hand, he casually tossed them to the butler behind him. He shouted at me angrily, "Take your luggage and get out, right away." "Sir, I'll get out immediately." I didn't manage to leave. I was stopped at the door. I looked up and locked eyes with a cold, beautiful woman. The beauty frowned, pointing at my suitcase. "Are all these your belongings?" I spread my wings to protect the financial sustenance of my future puppy. "Someone open them and take a look." Several tall and burly bodyguards immediately stepped forward to restrain me, and the suitcases were opened one by one. The items were displayed before him, and the male lead's face darkened completely. Shark fin, abalone, New Zealand scampi. Me, embarrassed. I've always had a big appetite since childhood, so I brought extra food to fill my stomach. The male lead's lips twitched. "Then why did you bring all these wires? Planning to grill fish in the wild?" I'm speechless. Under the turquoise outer casing, the wires gleamed golden. I was crying rivers of tears in my heart. This really wasn't my fault. Who knew the wealthy used 24K pure gold for their wiring? This was all meant for crafting the 3 golds for my little pup later. The male lead tossed my suitcase aside and pointed with a commanding hand. "Get out." I was thrown out the door. I couldn't help but protest. "Boss, you threw the suitcases in the wrong direction." 3 suitcases were left abandoned deep inside the villa, now 50 meters farther from me. Su Chen shouted at me, "Mom, don't be afraid, you go first. I'll catch up soon." The younger daughter nodded in agreement. "We don't want this junk. Dad has another safe. Once I break the lock, I'll send all the money to you." The male lead was puzzled. Extra chapter. I was kicked out by the male lead, but the system reluctantly judged my task as completed. As a reward, I could maintain my youthful beauty for 40 years. Meanwhile, this year I've managed to scrape together nearly 10 million from the Su family, all deposited into my personal account. The male lead accused me of child abduction and ordered me never to return to the country. He transferred me 10 million as travel expenses, telling me to spend the rest of my days abroad, lying on the beach in the Maldives. I counted the money until my hands ached. "Zizi, stop looking at your phone, look at me." The phone screen went black, and suddenly a face appeared right in front of me, with sharp features and deep-set eyes, a mix of Chinese, American, and French heritage. Dazzled by such beauty, I grinned until my cheeks ached. All right, big sister won't look at the phone, only at you. Whenever my money runs low, an unknown account transfers a sum to me, enough for me to splurge for a while. The only thing that's unsatisfactory is, 20 years later, a handsome and elegant young man came looking for me, blocking my door every day. He said I was the first person to see his body naked, so I had to take full responsibility for him. Su Chen's chapter. The day Dad came back, he brought a strange woman with him. She claimed to be the female lead, the savior mother for me and my little sister. Hell no, we only have one mom. She customizes nutritious meals for us to supplement our diet, finds martial arts masters to strengthen our bodies, and seeks renowned teachers for my sister to pave the way for her future. What kind of mother are you, anyway? Sigh, this woman is so narcissistic, pushing her world's heroine nonsense on us again. Can you please stop preventing us from running to school, take a walk after meals, live to 99? Does she even understand this? Speaking of which, I miss Mom. Never mind. This month's allowance of 100,000 has been issued again. Better transfer it to her quickly. My little sister said she wants to transfer her allowance to Mom too. Damn it, how can this be? We don't have a single penny to our names. When we come of age and go abroad to find her, what will we use to buy gifts? I heard that Punk Goon Yen has already gone to the Maldives. I'm so envious and jealous. No, I need to speed up the plan. Once I've devoured the corporation, I'll go take care of my mother in her old age. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.